Respiration takes place in two phases, external and internal. External respiration is the exchange of gases between the lungs and the surrounding atmosphere. In other words, breathing. Internal respiration is the exchange of gases across the tissue cell membranes within the lungs. The oxygen that is used in the body is inhaled through the mouth or nose, passes through the trachea and the bronchial tubes, and is directed into the lungs where it is transferred to the blood. This transfer of oxygen into the blood occurs because the oxygen that's inside the lungs but on the outside of the lungs membranes is at a higher pressure than the blood inside the membranes, and the amount of oxygen that is transferred through the semi-permeable membranes depends on the difference between the pressure of the oxygen and the blood pressure. As the blood pressure remains relatively constant, the amount of oxygen in the blood is a product of the pressure within the lungs, which is the ambient air pressure, not the volume of air consumed when breathing. The hemoglobin within the red blood cells then carries this oxygen to the body's living cells, where the oxygen is converted into energy for all the body's processes and functions. This process is called metabolism. This transfer of energy produces a waste product known as carbon dioxide, or CO2. As the carbon dioxide is produced, the blood carries it back to the lungs where it's released to the atmosphere by exhaling through the nose or mouth, thus completing the respiration cycle. If the brain detects an increase in the level of carbon dioxide, it assumes that the exertion level of the body has increased and it's using oxygen at an increased level. It then sends a command to the lungs to increase the breathing rate in order to supply more oxygen. Unfortunately, this system is affected by false signals at higher altitudes. As the atmospheric pressure decreases with altitude, the amount of oxygen is also depleted, and the brain takes this decrease in the level of oxygen as a sign of exertion and increases the breathing rate. Respiration takes place in two phases, external and internal. External respiration is the exchange of gases between the lungs and the surrounding atmosphere. In other words, breathing. Internal respiration is the exchange of gases across the tissue cell membranes within the lungs.